Our You Decide coverage continues ahead of South Carolina's June 11th primary, and right now our focus is on the race for Lawrence County Sheriff. In the Republican primary, Don Reynolds is running for re-election. His challenger is Chris Wilkes. And joining us now for his challenge against Sheriff Reynolds is Chris Wilkes, candidate for Lawrence County Sheriff. So, Mr. Wilkes, thank you so much for taking some time with us. I think first and foremost here, why run for sheriff?
Thank you so much for having me. So I started off as 18 years old with Lawrence County as a volunteer firefighter with Sandy Springs. I got into law enforcement around 20 and I got out around 30. One thing that I've noticed, I really love helping people, and I see with my county that there's a lot of programs that's been taken away from the citizens. So the thought process I have is, hey, I can go back in law enforcement and help one or two people, or I can try to be sheriff and help more people with my county. And being from county, born and raised in Lawrence County, that makes a drive for me to want to help.
So you say you want to help more people. You can do that with the platform of sheriff. What specific areas can you help the people of Lawrence County?
Sure. Well, one thing that I think about is the DARE program. When I went to school, at elementary school in Clinton, we had DARE that came in there. We had a DENA-KID that came in there. Now DARE is only being offered in the Lawrence County schools. It's not being offered in the city schools. And that's a problem to me. So no child should be restricted based off where they live. Everyone should get that opportunity. We've also taken out the programs such as the Explorer program with the county. I too was an Explorer when I went through there. It's no longer being offered. And the DENA-KID program, we have the equipment, but it's being stationed at the department and only being taken out during special events. Why can't the DARE officer offer a DENA-KID when they offer DARE with parents' consent, of course? So it's things like that. Amazing programs has been taken out, and I can't think of a logical reason of why.
I think a lot of people may see you here sitting at home, and they may see he looks awfully young. 32 years old, 10 years at the Clinton Police Department. What's your response to some voters in Lawrence County say he's pretty young to be sheriff? Correct.
Now, I've had a lot of people ask me that very question, and my response is this: years of experience is great, but don't think just because someone has been doing the job for 30 years means they've been doing a good job for 30 years. And I think that's the difference. I'm a newer leader with newer ideas. And here's the thing, we're not policing the same we did 30 years ago. It's completely changed. And I think with me, I can bring that to the table. Not only that, I'm a local business owner as well. So I want to be humble enough to hire people that's of course smarter than me. I want people to disagree with me that's around me, because that's all how we learn. So like I said, with my business, I'm not great with electricity. I know a little bit, but I hired a certified electrician. Same thing I will do as sheriff. If I lack in one spot, I'm going to go find someone that is, and I'm going to be humble enough to understand that they can be smarter than me, and we can all still work together.
You talked about policing in new ways. We don't police the same we used to. So what are some of those new ideas? You mentioned the DARE program, but when it comes to the sheriff's office, what are some new ideas, some new approaches that you can bring to the table?
So one thing that I liked, obviously we have a drug epidemic going on. It's going on everywhere. So we've got to bring them programs in. For instance, the jail. It used to have a GED program, and they used to allow ministers to come in and preach to the inmates. That's no longer there. We should bring that back in. Also, as an officer, I had a lot of individuals that was using narcotics that would reach out to me and ask me for assistance. There's not really a lot of assistance in Lawrence County, so we need to bring that to the county. And also, if the deputy has an individual that they're close with and they really want to help them, let's give that deputy the resources to help them.
Something else, when you look at the clearance rates for Lawrence County, according to SLED back in 2022, clearance rates, for people at home who may not know, is if there's been a suspect identified, an arrest, or a conviction when it comes to the crime. Clearance rates in Lawrence County are pretty good in comparison to other counties as well. So how can you build on those numbers as they stand now, relatively good? How can you build on those and improve those?
So I think the clearance rate is great. But one thing that we're not looking at is we're not looking at the citizens of Lawrence County. How do they trust? How much trust do they have in the sheriff's office? How much faith do they have in the sheriff's office? Those same clearance rate, I've had so many people reach out to me, say a suspected suicide. It's ruled as a suicide, but then it was a murder. And then also we have individuals overdosing on fentanyl. They're saying it's an overdose, but then yet that may be a murder too. So what I'm saying, you can clear stuff fast, but if you're doing the investigation the wrong way, then what good is that going to help the members of Lawrence County? So I think the clearance rate's great, but I also think we really need to start looking in these cases individually and don't count that person off based off their standing with Lawrence County, be it their wealth or who they know or their skin color. Everybody should get the same treatment, and that's what I'll bring to Lawrence County.
How do you make sure that everyone does get that same treatment, especially when growth is such a big issue? Here in the upstate, so many people coming here, South Carolina, fastest growing state in the nation. So with so many people coming in, how do you make sure you maintain that as sheriff?
Well, here's the thing. You've got to go out, for people that want to talk to you, I'm going to have an open door policy. I want to be transparent. I'm going to make mistakes. That's a given. But I'm going to own up to my mistakes, and I'm going to let them know when I make a mistake. And if they have questions, come in here and ask these questions. I'll be glad to talk to you. One point you just put it out is the deputies. Right now we've got about 5 deputies per shift. This is the same that we had when I first started with Clinton. Like you just said, Lawrence County's growing. Why don't we have more? One of my ideas was to hire on part-time officers, that's got years of experience, they retired, so they can help out on shift. But we're not doing that. And it's small things like this, that we can change to better our county.
Last question real quick here. Day one, what does that look like for Sheriff Wilkes?
Oh, day one's going to be great. So I want to go in, talk to the guys. Like I said, I know most of the guys, and I want to let them know, hey, you now have a sheriff that cares about you, that's going to go out there on the street and work with you, that's going to give you everything, or try the best to give you everything that they need. A sheriff that's familiar with the crimes that they deal with day in and day out and know how to prosecute these cases. So I hope so. I just want to let everybody know, please vote Chris Wilkes, June the 11th, Republican primary. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Chris Wilkes, candidate for Lawrence County Sheriff. Thank you.